3 years have gone by. Yes, the sun's come up over 1,000 times. Summers and winters have cracked the mountain a little bit, and the rains have run down some of the dirt. Some babies who weren't even born before have begun speaking in regular sentences already. And a number of people who thought they were right young and spry have found they can't bound up a flight of stairs like they used to without their hearts fluttering. Yes, all that can happen in 1,000 days. Nature's been pushing and contriving in other ways too. A number of young people fell in love and got married. Yep, the mountain got bit away a few fractions of an inch. 1,000,000 gallons of water went by the mill, and here and there, the new home was set up under a roof. You know, just about everybody in the world gets married. Roman Corners, there aren't hardly any exceptions. Just about everybody climbs into their graves married. Now, the first act was called The Daily Life. This act is called Love and Marriage. There's an act to follow this one, and I reckon you can probably guess what that's going to be about. So, it's 3 years later. It's 1904. It's July 7th, right after high school commencement. It seems to be the time of year when a lot of our young people decide to jump up and get married. It seems as soon as they finish their final examinations in Cicero's orations and solid geometry, finally see themselves fit to be married. Well, it's early morning. Only this time, it's been raining. It's been pouring in thunder. Mrs. Gibbs's garden, Mrs. Webb's garden, drenched. All those pea vines and bean poles, drenched. Yesterday, over on Main Street, the rain looked like curtains being blown off. Ooh. That'd be the 5:45 for Boston again. Here comes Mrs. Gibbs, and here's Mrs. Webb coming downstairs to get breakfast just like it's any ordinary day. Now, I don't need to tell the women in the audience that those two ladies cook 3 meals a day. One of them for 20 years, the other one for 40 years, never a summer vacation. They raised 2 children apiece, cleaned the house, washed, and never a nervous breakdown. It's like that Midwest poet said, you gotta love life to have life, and you gotta have life to love life. It's what they call a vicious circle.
Yeah, busy.
Here comes Howie Newsom delivering the milk, and that side cry delivering the paper from the show for him.
Morning, Howie.
Morning, Si. Anything in the papers I should know about?
Oh, not much. Except we're losing about the best baseball pitcher Grover's Corners ever had.
I reckon he is.
George Gibbs. He can hit and run bases, too.
Yeah, mighty fine ball player. Oh, yes, he. Guess I can stop and talk if I have a mind to.
I don't see how you give up something just like that. Just to get married. You, Howie?
Can't say, Si. I never really had no talent that way. You're up early, Bill.
Seeing if there's anything I can do to prevent a flood. The river's been rising all night.
Well, Si Crowley here is all mixed up about the George Gibbs retiring from baseball.
Yes, sir, that's the way it goes. Back in '84, sir, we had a player even George Gibbs couldn't touch him. The name of Hank Tye. He went down to Maine and became a parson. He was a wonderful ball player. Howie, how's the weather seem to you?
Oh, ain't that bad. I think it'll clear up for good.
Well, morning, Howie. I think it's going to rain again.
Morning, Mrs. Gibbs. I think the rain's so heavy, I think it'll clear up for good.
I sure hope so.
How much would you like today?
Well, I've got a house full of relations coming later, so I think 3 of milk and 2 of cream.
My wife says to tell you, we both hope there'll be very happy, Mrs. Gibbs. No, they will.
Oh, thank you, Maui. Hey, we'll tell your wife that we expect her there at the service.
Yeah, she'll be there. She'll be there. She did.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Newsom.
Morning, Mrs. Webb.
I told you 4 quarts of milk, but I'm hoping you can spare me another.
Yes, I'm at 2 cream.
Now, is it going to start raining again, Mr. Newsom?
Well, I was just saying to Mrs. Webb, Mrs. Gibbs, that I think it'll clear up for good. And Mrs. Newsom asked me to tell you we both hope they'll be very happy, Mrs. Webb. No, they will.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Newsom. And we're counting on seeing you at the wedding.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there if we can. Come on, Bessie.
Well, Ma, the time has come. We're losing one of your chicks.
Don't stop that, Frank Gibbs. I just feel like crying every minute.
Room's upstairs and he's room there, he's shaving. Not that there's an awful lot to shave. He's whistling and singing away there, almost like he's looking forward to leaving. Every now and then he looks into the mirror and he says, I do. But it don't sound very convincing.
Oh, I declare, Frank, how's he going to get along? I've arranged his clothes and I've seen where he's always had warm things. Oh, Frank, they're just too young. Emily will never think of such things. He'll catch his death of cold and be dead within a week.
I've been remembering my wedding day, Julia.
Oh, no, don't stop that.
Oh, I was the scaredest young fella in the whole of New Hampshire. I was certain I was going to make a mistake. But then I saw you coming down the aisle and I thought, that's the prettiest girl I'd ever seen. Except I'd never seen you before. Here I was in the Congregational Church marrying a complete stranger.
How do you think I felt, Frank? You know, weddings are just awful things. Farces, that's what they are. Farces. Here, I made you something.
What, Julia Hersey? French toast?
Well, it ain't hard. I had to do something.
How'd you sleep last night, Julia?
Well, I've heard a lot of vows ticked off.
I get a shock every time I think about George becoming a family man. You know, Julia, having a son is the most terrifying thing in the world. The relation between father and son. It's the darndest, awkwardest, most complicated relationship.
When mother and daughter's no picnic, I can tell you.
They'll have their troubles, I suppose. But you gotta leave it to them to work them out for themselves. Everybody's entitled to their own troubles.
Yes. People meant to go through this life 2 by 2. Tain't natural to be lonesome.
You know what I was most scared of when we got married, Julie? I was scared. We wouldn't have enough conversation as would last us more than about 2 weeks. I thought we'd spend most of our married life in complete silence. Well, here we are, 20 years on, and there doesn't seem to have been a great shortage of topics for conversation.
Well, good weather, bad weather. Seems like I've always got something to say.
You have.
Have you heard Rebecca stirring around upstairs?
No, and this would be the first time this year she hadn't been organizing everything going on upstairs. She's in her room. I get the impression she's been crying.
Oh, Lord, sakes. This has got to stop. Now, Rebecca, come on down for breakfast now.
Well, good morning, everybody. Only 5 miles to live. I'm just stepping across the grass to see my girl.
No, George, not without putting on your old shoes first. Why, it's raining torrents outside. Now, you don't go outside unless you're properly prepared for it.
Well, it's just a step.
Now, George, any weather and kill yourself for all I care. While you're living in my house, you'll live wisely, thank you. Now, Mrs. Webb, she just mightn't be used to visitors at 7 o'clock in the morning. Why don't you take a little coffee first?
I'll just be a minute. Good morning, Mother Webb.
Oh goodness. Oh, you frightened me. Oh, George, you can come in for a minute, but you know I can't ask you in.
Why not?
George, you know as well as I do. Who can't see bride on the wedding day? That's really Caesar in church.
It's just superstition. Good morning, Mr. Webb. Good morning, George. Mr. Webb, you don't believe in that superstition, do you?
Well, there's a lot of common sense in some superstitions, George.
Millions have thought it, George. You don't look for us to find a place of custom.
How's Emily?
Well, she hasn't waked up yet. I haven't heard a sound out of her.
Emily's asleep.
Well, no wonder. We were up till all hours, sewing and packing. Now, I'll tell you what I'll do. You sit down here and drink with Mr. Webb and drink his coffee. And I'll go upstairs and see if she doesn't come down and surprise you. There's some bacon there, too, but don't be too long about it.
Well, George. How are you?
I'm fine. Fine. Mr. Webb, what sense could there be in a superstition like that?
Well, let's see. On her wedding morning, a girl's head's apt to be full of clothes, one thing or another. Don't you think that's probably it?
I never thought of that.
The girl's apt to be mighty nervous on her wedding day.
I wish a fellow could get married without all that marching up and down.
Every man in the world's felt that way about it, George. Hasn't been any use. It's the women folk who built up weddings, my boy. A long while now, the women have had it all their own. Man looks pretty small at a wedding, George. All those good women standing up there, shoulder to shoulder, making sure that knot's tied in a mighty public way.
But you believe in it, don't you, Mr. Webb?
Oh, yes. Don't you misunderstand me, my boy. Marriage is a wonderful thing. Wonderful thing. Don't you forget that, George.
No, sir. How old were you when you got married?
Well, let's see. I'd been away to college, and I took a little while to get settled. But Mrs. Webb, she wasn't much older than what Emily is now. Oh, age hasn't got much to do with it, George. Not compared with other things.
What were you going to say, Mr. Webb?
I don't know. Was I going to say something? George, I was thinking the other day, some advice my father gave me when I was getting married. Charles, he said, Charles, start out early, showing who's boss. Best thing to do, he said, is to give an order, even if it don't make sense, just so she'll learn to obey. And he said, if anything about your wife irritates you, the conversation or anything, just get up and leave the house. That way she'll know. And, oh yes, he said, never let your wife know how much money you have. Never.
Mr. Webb, I don't think that I could do
So I took the opposite of my father's advice, and I've been happy ever since. Let that be a lesson to you, George. Never to ask advice on personal matters.
Sir.
Now, George, are you going to raise chickens on your farm?
Excuse me?
Are you going to raise chickens on your farm?
Oh, well, Uncle Luke's never been much interested, but I
A
thought
book
that...
came into my office the other day, George, on the philo system of raising chickens. I want you to read it. I'm thinking of starting in a small way in the backyard myself. And, Planning on putting an incubator in the cell.
Oh, Charles, are you talking about that old incubator again? I thought you two would be talking about something worthwhile.
Well, Myrtle, if you feel that you can give the boys some good advice, I'll go upstairs and leave you alone.
Now, George, Emily's got to come downstairs and eat her breakfast. She sends you her love, but she doesn't want to lay eyes on you. So, goodbye.
Goodbye. I guess you don't know about that old superstition, Myrtle.
What do you mean, Charles?
Since the caveman, no bridegroom should see his father-in-law on the day of the wedding. Remember that.
Thank you, Mr. Webb, Mrs. Webb. I'm gonna have to interrupt here again. You see, we want to know how all this began. This wedding, this plan to spend a lifetime together. I'm awfully interested in knowing how such big things can begin. You know how it is. 21, 22, you make some decisions, and then which? At 70, you've been a lawyer for 50 years, and that white-haired lady by your side has eaten over 50,000 meals with you. How do such big things begin? Well, George and Emily are going to show us the conversation they had when they knew that, as the saying goes, they were meant for one another. But before they do, I want you to remember what it was like to have been very young, particularly when you were first in love. When you were like a person sleepwalking. You didn't always know what street you were on and didn't always hear everything that was said to you. You were just a little bit crazy. Can you remember that, please? So, well, about 3 o'clock, school children are going to be coming out of school. George has just been elected president of his junior year, and as it's June, that means he'll be president of his senior year all next year also. Emily has been elected secretary and treasurer. Now, I don't need to tell you how much of a big deal that is. Yep, here they are coming down Main Street now.
Oh, I can't, Louise. I've got to go home. Goodbye. Oh, Ernestine? Oh, Ernestine, could you come over tonight and do Latin? Isn't that Cicero the worst thing? Tell your mother you have to. Goodbye. Oh, goodbye, Helen. Goodbye, Fred.
Can I carry your books home for you, Emily?
Why, thank you. It isn't far.
Oh, excuse me, one moment. Say, Bob, if I'm a little late, start practice anyway. I can give Herb some long high ones.
Goodbye, Lizzie.
Bye, Lizzie. I'm awfully glad you're elected too, Emily.
Thank you.
Emily, why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad. You?
You've been treating me so funny lately.
Well, since you asked me, I might as well come right out and say it, George. Oh, goodbye, Miss Cochran.
Bye, Miss Cochran. What is it?
I don't like the whole change that's come over you in the last year. Sorry if it hurts your feelings. I've got to tell the truth and shame the devil.
Change? What do you mean?
Well, up to a year ago, I used to like you a lot. And I used to watch you as you did everything. Because we've been friends for so long. And then you began spending all your time at baseball, and you never stopped to speak to anybody anymore. I mean, not even to your own family you didn't. George, it's a fact. You got awful conceited and stuck up, and all the girls say so. They may not say it to your face, but well, that's what they say about you behind your back. And it hurts me to hear them say it, but I gotta agree with them a little. No, I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings. Well, I can't be sorry I said it.
I'm glad you said it, Emily. I never thought such a thing was happening to me. I I guess it's hard for a felon to have faults creep into his character.
I always expect a man to be perfect, and I think he should be.
I don't think it's possible to be perfect.
Yeah, well, my father is. And as far as I can see, your father is. There's no reason on earth why you shouldn't be too.
Well, I feel it's the other way around, that men aren't naturally good, but girls are.
Well, you might as well know right now, George, that I'm not perfect. It's not as easy for a girl to be perfect as a man, because we girls are more nervous. No, I'm sorry I said all that about you. I don't know what made me say it.
Emily.
I suddenly feel it's not the truth at all, and it's not so important anyway.
Emily, would you like to get an ice cream soda or something before you go home?
Well, thank you. I would.
Hello, Stu. Good afternoon, Mrs. Logan.
Oh, hello, George. Hello, Emily. What do you have? What have you been crying about?
Oh, she just got an awful scare this morning. She almost got run over by that hardware store wagon. Everybody says that Tom Huckins drives like a crazy man.
Well, you take a drink of water, Emily, and look all shook up. Now, you gotta look both ways when you cross Main Street these days. It gets worse every year. What do you have?
I'll have a strawberry frosty. Thank you, Mr. Morgan.
No, Emily. Have an ice cream soda with me. 2 strawberry ice cream sodas, please, Mr. Morgan.
2 strawberry ice cream sodas. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There are 125 horses in Grover's Corners this minute that I'm talking to you. The state inspector was in here yesterday. Now they're bringing in all these automobiles. I tell you, the best thing to do is just stay home. Well, I remember when a dog could go to sleep in the middle of Main Street all day. Nothing come along to disturb it. There they are. You enjoy them. Yes, Mrs. Ellis, what can I get for you?
They're so expensive.
Oh, don't think of that, Emily. We're celebrating our election. And do you know what else I'm celebrating?
No?
I'm celebrating the fact that I have a friend that tells me things that ought to be told.
George, please don't think of that. I don't know why I said it. It's
No, Emily, you stick to it. I'm glad you said what you did, but I'm going to change so quick, you bet I'm going to change. And Emily, I want to ask you a favor.
What?
When I go away to State Agriculture College next year, will you write me a letter once in a while?
Certainly will. I certainly will. George, it certainly seems like being away 3 years, you might get out of touch with me. Maybe letters from Grover's Corners wouldn't be so interesting after a while. Grover's Corners isn't a very important place when you think of all New Hampshire, but I think it's a very nice town.
Day wouldn't come when I don't want to know everything that's going on around here. I know that's true, Emily.
Well, I'll try to make my letters interesting.
You know, Emily, whenever I meet a farmer and I ask him if he thinks it's important to go to agriculture school to be a good farmer,
Why, George?
and some of them even say it's a waste of time. I mean, you can get all that stuff anyway from the pamphlets the government hands out. And Uncle Luke, he's getting old. I mean, he's about ready for me to take over tomorrow if I could.
My.
And like you said, being gone all that time, in other places, meeting other people, gosh, if anything like that can happen, I don't want to go away. I guess new people aren't any better than the old ones. I bet they almost never are. Emily, I feel you're as good a friend as I've got. I don't need to meet other people in other towns.
But George, maybe it's very important for you to go and learn all about the cattle judging and with the soils and those things. Of course, I don't know.
I'm gonna make up my mind right now. I won't go. I'll tell Pa tonight.
Why, George, I don't see why you have to decide right now. It's a whole
Emily, I'm glad you spoke to me about that fault in my character. What you said was right, but there was one thing wrong in it, and that's when you said that for a year I wasn't noticing anybody, and you, for instance, you said you were watching me as I did everything. Why, I was doing the same about you the whole time. I always thought about you as one of the chief people I thought about. I always make sure where you're sitting in the bleachers and who you were with. And for 3 days now, I've been trying to walk home with you, but something's always got in the way. Yesterday, I was standing over by the wall waiting for you, and you walked home with Miss Corcoran.
Oh, George. Oh, life's awful funny. How can I know
Emily,
that?
I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to State Agriculture College next year. I think once you've found someone that you're very fond of, and who's fond of you too, and who likes you enough to be interested in your character, well, I think that's just as important as college is, even more so. That's what I think.
I think it's awfully important, too.
Emily?
Yes, George?
If I do improve and make a big change, could you be,
I am now. I always has been.
well, I guess this is a pretty important talk we've been having.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, wait just a minute, I'll walk you home. Mr. Morgan, I'm gonna have to run home to get the money to pay your fees.
What's that? George Gibbsy, you mean to tell me?
Yes, sir, but I had my reasons. Here, take my gold watch to keep until I come back with the money.
That's all right. You keep your gold watch, George. I trust you.
I'll be 5 minutes.
5 minutes. I'll trust you 10 years, George, and not a day over. You can all over your shop, Emily.
Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. Morgan. It was nothing.
I'm ready.
Well, now we're ready to get on with the wedding. Now, there's a lot of things that can be said about a wedding. A lot of thoughts that go on during a wedding. We can't get them all into one wedding, naturally. And especially not one in Grover's Hollows, where they tend to be awfully plain and short. But in this wedding, I play the minister. So that gives me the right to say a few words about it. For a while now, the play gets pretty serious. See, some churches say that marriage is a sacrament. I'm not sure I know what that means, but I think I can guess. It's like Mrs. Gibbs was saying a few minutes ago. People were made to live 2 by 2. Now, this is a good wedding, but people are so put together that even at a good wedding, there's a lot of confusion, way down deep in people's minds. And we thought that ought to be in our play too. And let's not forget the other witnesses at this wedding, the ancestors, millions of them. Most of them set out to live 2 by 2 also. Millions of them. Well, that's the end of my sermon. Wasn't very long anyway.
Oh, I don't know why on earth I should be crying. I suppose there's nothing to cry about. Oh, came over me at breakfast this morning. There was Emily, sitting eating breakfast, as she's done for 17 years. Oh, now she's going to go off and eat it in someone else's house. I suppose that's it. Oh, and Emily, then she suddenly said, I can't eat another mouthful. She put her head down on the table and then she cried. Oh, I'm just going to say it. You know, I think it's downright cool the way we send our girls out into marriage like this. I do hope her girlfriends have told her a thing or two. I know it's cruel, but I couldn't bring myself to say anything. I went into a blind as a bat myself. The whole world's wrong, that's what's the matter. Oh, here they come.
Hey, George! It's George. Wait. Hey, George! There he is, you boy. Hey, look at him. He looks scared at death.
Oh, don't go looking so innocent, George. We don't know what you're thinking about.
I'm 16.
Big boy.
All right, that's
Come on, Georgie boy. You're gonna hit a home run tonight, George.
You know, there used to be an awful lot of this sort of thing back in Rome and later. We're more civilized than that now, so they say.
What's the matter?
I don't want to grow old. Why is everyone pushing me so?
Well, George, you wanted this.
No, Ma, listen to me.
No, George. You're a grown man now.
No, Ma, for the last time I asked you, all I want to do is be a fella.
No, George. Someone should hear you. Now, stop it. I'm ashamed of you.
What? Where's Emily?
Oh, George, you gave me such a fright.
Cheer up, Ma. I'm getting married.
I just need to catch my breath a little.
Oh, Ma, what are you crying for? Now listen, Ma, you say Thursday nights. Emily and I are coming over for dinner every Thursday night. You'll see. Oh, come on, Ma, we gotta get ready for this.
I've never felt so lonely in my whole life. George over there, looking so... Oh, I hate him. Oh, I wish I were dead. Papa. Papa.
Emily, now don't get upset.
Papa, I don't want to get married.
Shh, everything's all right.
Oh, why can't I stay for a while, just as I am? Let's go away.
No, now stop and think a minute.
Don't you remember you used to say all the time? You used to say all the time that I was your girl. There must be lots of places we can go to, and I'll work for you. I could keep house.
You mustn't think such things. You're just nervous, Emily. George, will you come here a minute? Now, you're married to the best young fellow in the world. George is a fine fellow.
Papa.
I'm giving away my daughter, George. Do you think you can take care of her?
Mr. Webb, I want to. I want to try. Emily, I love you. I need you.
Well, if you love me, help me. All I want is someone to love me.
Emily, I want to. Emily, I'll try.
I mean forever, do you hear? Forever and ever.
Come on, you're waiting for us. Now you know everything's gonna be all right.
Do you, George, take Emily to be your
Perfectly lovely wedding. It's the loveliest wedding I ever saw. Oh, I do love a good wedding, don't you? And doesn't she make a lovely bride?
I do.
Do you, Emily, take this man George to be your...
Oh, no one I've ever seen such a lovely wedding. But I always cry. I don't know why it is, but I always cry. I just like to see young people happy. Don't you? Oh, I think it's lovely.
I've married over 200 couples in my day. Do I believe in it? I don't know. M marries N, millions of them. The cottage, the go-kart, Sunday afternoon drives in the Ford, the first rheumatism, grandchildren, the second rheumatism, the deathbed, reading of the will. Once in 1,000 times, it's interesting. Let's have some of Mendelssohn's Wedding March. end of the second act, folks. We're going to take a slightly longer break this time. By all means, go out, grab yourselves a drink. You two. See you back here in 20 minutes.